Welcome to Faith Over Breakfast. You are listening to a podcast by Pastor Eric Deepen and Pastor Andy Littleton. If you enjoy Faith Over Breakfast, we encourage you to rate it on the Apple Podcast app, on Spotify, or Google Play. Thank you and enjoy the podcast.
Welcome to Faith Over Breakfast, where today Pastor Eric Deepen, who I'm sitting across from, and myself, Andy Littleton, from the Village Community and Mission Church, respectively, talk about if you should listen to other podcasts or just ours.
Right.
No. Oh, sorry, I messed that up. If you should go to more than one church.
Yeah, this idea of tending multiple churches and where you put your energy, time, and resources and gifting.
Yeah. So if you've ever wondered about such things, as our faithful listener Corey, who emailed us this question, does, you will. We talk about it the whole time. Yeah. This is a focused.
Yeah, very focused
podcast.
Yeah, and just as we head into that, you've probably, as you've been listening, fast forwarded past the introduction because you don't want to hear the thing that we put up front all the time. But let me say, we did lose a subscriber.
Oh man!
And you know what?
That's heartbreaking.
We've never had a lot of subscribers, and we've lost two.
Yeah,
one of them rejoined. Yay! But
okay,
it's a weird feeling.
Wow,
it's like
somebody just said, "No, I don't want to hear your voice."
Yeah, I know. But hey,
it happens.
We had raised enough money to run an ad, so we ran an ad for Faith Over Breakfast, and now you're paying for the hosting and helping us maybe run a few ads getting this out. Wow. So we would love you to subscribe, $3, $5, or $10. Please, 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 please. We love you, and we want to know that you love us.
Wow. Great.
All right, anyway, I'll shut up before
and cover our costs.
And cover our costs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
All right. It's an absolute joy.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. An absolute joy. I don't know who I turned out, but anyway, it's probably you.
It's hard to say.
It really is hard to say.
Are we really recording? Is it really working? Yes. Good.
Oh, listen to that. That was terrible, guys.
That's a squeaky chair.
Woohoo! We're here. We're back.
Should we go to multiple churches? That's the question.
Yes, the question. I'm gonna bring my phone to the table.
As long as you put it somewhere else.
There's the phone to the table music brought to you by Eric. We are going to now look at our email. Faith Over Breakfast. Corey Gilchrist asks this question. Pastor Eric and Andy, I've been having a conversation recently about the practices of attending two churches simultaneously, and it's brought up some interesting points I'd like to get your perspective on. From a spiritual standpoint, some might argue that attending two churches offers double the worship and the opportunities for growth. How do you view the spiritual benefit or potential drawback of engaging with two different church communities? On the other hand, my concern is that splitting one's time between two churches could lead to half the commitment to either the congregation, potentially impacting the person's ability to fully integrate, serve, and build deep relationships within a single church body. How important do you see singular commitment to a local church, and what might be the implications of dividing that? Are there specific situations where attending two churches might be beneficial or conversely unadvisable? For example, if someone has a unique capacity or calling that could be met by engaging with two different ministries. What would you say are the core responsibilities and expectations of membership within a local church, and how might these be affected by regular attendance at another church? And here comes the last one. Ultimately, what guidance would you offer to someone who is considering attending two churches or is currently doing so in terms of their spiritual growth, commitment, and participation in the body of Christ? Thanks, Corey Gilchrist.
This feels like a, no. Put that
phone leaving
somewhere else. This feels like a Ask Pastor John or Ask NT Wright anything moment.
Right. Yeah. Ask Pastor Eric and Andy anything.
Well, so, a quick question for you. Have you, at any point in your life, Eric, ever gone to two different churches?
Other than visiting, no.
Oh, okay. There you go. So, Eric has not done this his life.
No.
Okay. Yeah. I, at one time, did go to 2 different churches.
This podcast is over.
This podcast is over. In a very specific sense. So this is when I was in my late teens to very early 20s, somewhere in there. I had been going to a little neighborhood church where I'd gotten involved, and I'd graduated from their youth ministry and felt like this was God had really knit me to this community at that time. At the same time, there were a lot of things I didn't relate to there. I didn't feel as if I was learning a lot there, but the people were important to me. And I was invited to an evening service at the time of a larger church that felt like a smaller church of that church, but it was mostly people my age. I felt that it was really speaking to what I was going through. At that time, I was attending 2 churches. Do you know which one it is? Don't you want to guess?
I do, but I want to know what year.
What year? It was probably somewhere in the 02, 03
then
range.
I don't know.
Okay. 2002, 2003. I think maybe after that a little bit.
No. I might know. Yeah, I might know.
You might know.
It's one of the biggers, right?
Yeah.
It's just east or west, right?
North.
North. Oh. Okay. Anyway.
Yes.
So that's how you got involved in that church.
So at that time, it was for a period, I would say a couple years. And then after that, I did my Chicago stint, moved out of Tucson. And when I returned, I did not attend multiple churches. But at that period, I would go in the morning to the church where I knew I was known. In the evening, I went to this other one supplementally. That was
interesting.
So I've experienced that for a couple years of my life.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
yeah. So so do you, as a pastor, recommend or encourage people to attend multiple churches for double the worship, double the experience, double the growth?
No, not for that
reason.
Not for doubling.
Now, what happens when people do tend to attend more than one church?
Here's
on a regular basis.
I'm Mr. Nuance, aren't I?
You are Mr.
Isn't
Nuance.
it annoying? At least it gives us some time. It fills a whole podcast. That's
does.
Nice.
Mr. Nuance.
Mr. Nuance. I don't think it's as simple. I don't think I can get on here and say I do or do not recommend it. I think it vastly depends upon who I'm talking to.
So I'm going to pause you right here.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a percentage?
A percent? I think I would generally lean toward no.
Okay, that's at least we're getting a little specific.
Good job, Andy. My leaning is pick one.
Mm-hmm.
Except I would say that, and there was a period of time where and this was, I don't remember who all was talking about this. It was in Reformed world. There was a lot of, you need to pick a home church.
Mm-hmm.
And I
believe in that.
I do too. I very much believe in it said that way. There's one where you are a member and you are connected or whatever it looks like to be known and understood. We just held a membership discussion with potential new members at our church, and I do think it's important that this is my home community. The leaders of this church know I am committed here. I understand that I am looking to them for guidance and support. The way I love to phrase it is, I don't even like the word member. I think today that feels like a club as opposed to being a member of the body of Christ, as in the body metaphor, which is better, but I don't think that's how it comes across. But I like to use the phrase, God is calling me to follow Jesus with this community. Mm-hmm. That's I think, a core question.
That's good.
Yeah. So I do think I would advise know what community that is. Now, if we're talking about on top of that, you're free at a time when another church has a gathering, or there's a study from another church that you really connect with and relate to, but you have a home, sometimes I think that could be fine.
So maybe say you go to mission, but you really have loved the book of Philippians.
Right.
And Eric Noss at Christ Community is teaching Wednesday night Philippians Bible study.
Yeah.
And you want to learn about it, so you go to that for 11 weeks.
I would say, awesome, great. Right. You'll probably get a way of teaching it that doesn't exist within our church. That could be a real gift. The relationships between the two churches might be strengthened from such a thing. But here's the nuance piece, because actually, and I've been sorting through this over the years. I've seen a few different versions. So this is why I'm saying it has to be, in a way, hyper individualized. Here's the question: If the person is saying, "I love the book of Philippians," I wonder if I could learn something over there. We don't really do book of the Bible exegetical studies during the week at Mission.
Right.
We don't have enough teachers to do something like that. If I sensed it was a longing just to learn more about Philippians, I would say, great. Why not? Good. I see a lot of benefits. I hope you make friends there. Wonderful. The other side of it that I've seen, and I've seen this particularly with younger men, but I think no, that's not true. I've seen it for different reasons in different people. If there's this aching sense like they're looking for that missing piece in their life and church, that I just want someone I can really look up to, or someone who really understands me, or I love this church, but it's just not quite X, Y, or Z. And the pastor of that other church is just so inspiring. There's a different nuance to that I think is trying to fill a void. It's not about I want to grow a little and learn. It's that I'm dissatisfied in God's provision for me in my church. Maybe that will satisfy it. And there's something about that, and I'd love you to even speak into what you're hearing from me right now, but something about that concerns me a bit. I think that quest I would want to question. And so and then they're different. One of those could be, I want someone who really knows me. Well, if you're looking outside of your church community for that, something else is going on here. I wouldn't say, oh, great, go to 2 churches. I think I'd want to talk about what do you think church is for? Maybe our church just isn't a good fit. Maybe you need something we don't have. That's valid. But let's talk about that as opposed to you just collecting from various churches, because that's kind of unfair. Then none of them really, in a way, you are giving a commitment of sorts to that other church that I think is confusing for you and for them. And nobody really knows who's responsible anymore.
Yeah. And since I'm a no nuance man,
you're Mr. Blunt and
just go through the front door, punch you.
Yeah.
I'm not always that way, by the way.
Eric's about to post a viral post on Facebook that says, no one should ever go to 2 churches. It's morally wrong. And then as you read it, you'll go, well, okay, he's saying something a little bit more.
Yeah, that might be it. But no, so here's the viral line for you. I don't think anyone should go to any other church ever unless they're being sent by that church to do ministry in another church or sent for a purpose.
Sent for a purpose. Okay.
So I went to my elders, said, hey, I want to bring back Philippians. I think Eric Noss is probably one of the prominent scholars on Philippians. I want to go spend 12 weeks listening to him so that I can come back here and disciple a few people through Philippians. What do you think? And they say, yes, we send you there to receive that and bring that back.
So it sounds, and I think this is you press into this at the Village more than most churches do, but kind of a group discernment.
But it's not just a group discernment. And this is like, I learned some of this as I grew up in mostly elder-driven churches, but then a lot from Rod. And I spent my life being in submission to elders, and now I'm an elder. And I think that when you join the church, you are in submission. And sub means under, and mission means under someone else's mission. So what you are doing is hopefully in line with what the elders are doing as they follow Jesus.
Yeah.
So the elders are supposed to be saying, as I follow Jesus, imitate me. So if your elder is visiting other churches and studying, then you should do that too.
Right.
If your elder is not doing that, you should not do that, unless they're sending you. If they're sending you, and then I have an exception to this rule.
Okay.
I mean,
share that, and then I'll see if I still have my question.
Okay. So the exception to the rule is that the Village, we served as, you call yourself an outpost, for a long time, and still at some level, we served as a place where young people could find a spot to explore.
Yeah.
Didn't have to have it all figured out. They could sort through things. And a lot of times, their aunts, their uncles, their mom, who go to other churches, would come every so often with them.
Right.
And then sometimes they would come enough that we'd all get to know them.
Right.
They are aunts and uncles coming to usher someone else into the kingdom and to taste that. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if there were someone in my church who said, I go to the morning service at the Village, but I go to the evening service, I go to Mission, but I go to Mission not because I think Andy's the best or the music's better, but Greg, like, he's just come back to Jesus. He really likes Mission. I think I can support him, encourage him, and cheer him on for a period of time. So I'm going to go there and be that and help him, make it into this kingdom space. Totally into that. Or maybe you're an actual missionary from the church, and so we're sending you either locally or out to another space to serve. And so you're a member of our church serving in another space. Yeah. And you might attend our church sometimes if you're in town, or you do regularly, and then you're serving in this other church. But you're sent from us to do a particular mission under the authority of the elders. I think the authority of the elders is a big, big deal. And I think that you as a follower should do everything you possibly can to support them, strengthen the mission, and be part of it. And then call them to account when they aren't doing what they're saying that they're doing. Yeah. Right. And stay committed. So there's my view on, like, now if you just can't figure out what church you need to go to, and so you're like, 3 day, weeks at Mission, 3 at
you're
the Village over at Catfoot, I know, and you're trying to figure out, like, okay, that's called shopping, yes. But if you're new to town,
that's fine.
Yeah. That's fine. Now, if you're like, I don't like Andy's preaching because it's X, Y, and Z. I have a lot of friends there. I don't know. Yeah. I think I want to try out Eric and see what he's like. No.
And that's what happens a lot.
Yeah. Go back to Andy and sit under Andy and listen to what Andy's trying to tell you and follow him if this is the boundary that God's called you to, and announce it's the place and stay.
And that's, I think, that critical piece that I'm naming of, to me, it's really asking God, where do you want me to follow Jesus in community? That's, I think, the primary question, as opposed to what do I like? And now I think you might sense that you do connect with something. I'm not saying there's none of that. I think that's part of the discernment process, right? Of course you're gonna, but I don't think that's the only question of, so do I like this enough? Does this fulfill me enough?
Right.
I think it would be, you'd have some sense of what is important to you, what God has done in your life, what kind of church is going to build you up in that. And then you prayerfully say, so God, is this the one? Is this the community I'm to be with? And I don't think it's just pastors. I think pastors and elders are very important, but I think it's it's people too. I mean, sometimes there's
Oh yeah.
a good friend who's saying, "Hey, I really think this place would be good for you."
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, I agree. I think you should choose to be all in.
Yes.
And
right.
Then, and then I was going to ask you, so you were talking about, under the elders' mission, and I would wonder, so in the scenario if somebody wants to go study Philippians, I could see somebody saying, so do I wait for the elders to say, hey, go learn Philippians from Eric Noss? Or if you heard about the class through a friend or you saw it on social media, could you come to the elders?
You would.
And
more often, I would say you would come.
And you say, hey, just want to check with you. This feels like it'd be a great place for me to go learn Philippians, but what do you think?
Yeah, so I think that's one thing. Now, I would push against the whole thing anyway, because I think in this day and age where time is limited, and usually churches like Mission or others are offering a whole set of things. And if Philippians is going to take away from that whole set of things they're offering,
that's a good.
Then you need to probably not go. And here's why. Because, there are 500 preachers of high quality. There are probably a number of free seminaries online that you can walk through Philippians on your own or with a group of people in your community and learn that. You don't need to go on a Wednesday to and take up a night. Now, if the elders are like, yeah, we actually think this is good for you, that's great. But I think we have to really, our time is pulled everywhere. Right. All the time. And if you get children, it's pulled everywhere even more, right? If you have children, which we're called to be fruitful and multiply. So you're going to have children, most likely. A lot of people in your church will. So you're going to be busy with soccer. You're going to be busy with doing homework, school activities. Right? This is going to take up all of those things. And so if your church isn't well integrated into that and trying to help aid you to be a missionary in those spaces, then you're going to be more inclined to think, well, maybe I should go listen to Philippians, and give up a Wednesday every week or whatever.
The other reason I brought up early how each situation is unique, and this would actually even reinforce having people in your church, elders in your church who know who you are, and what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
There are people in my church right now who I think need more of the right things to do. And there are people who I think are doing too much. And typically the ones doing too much are the ones who would sign up for the Philippians class, and the one not doing enough wouldn't typically.
Sure.
Typically. But I say that because I know these people. And what I mean by the right things is, as you get to know somebody, you realize you choose to do this with your time. It would be more beneficial if you did this with your time while you're trying to get there. If you took a step like this with your time, that would be a move in the right direction.
Yeah.
I could imagine somebody in my church where I might say, you know what? I would suggest, as opposed to doing X, you should show up to as many Bible studies as possible in this time slot of your life. That would probably be reserved for 1 to 2 people. Then there's another person who might come and, hey, there's a new study. And I would say, I don't think you should do any more studies. I think you love studies. That's great. But I think you would just study. I think you need to be with somebody. I think you need to not be frenetic. I think you need to sit. I think you need to listen. That's your
so
your learning curve. But that would come from knowing the person.
But in general, so there's the Bible study, but
there are a lot of other versions.
2 church services, which is what
happens. The core of Corey's question.
Yeah, and it happens in periodic waves at the village.
Yeah,
and that it happens as probably it happened a lot when we first planted.
Yeah,
and I suspect it happens in waves at Mission.
Yeah, waves
where you have people come by and they're going to another church and they start attending your church for a while.
When we merged, we had a burst of people who we were the new interesting thing, and I don't know if they went to 2 or if they just tried us for a while and then they kind of went back to other places.
And those people, the people who come into the community, we try to assess and figure out where they're at, and we don't reject them. But if there is You're just here because you think this little thing is really cool.
Yeah.
But you're not really going to ever leave the church you're at, and then we don't really want you to. So
right.
We would encourage that you put your energy and time back into that community, and sure, come visit us once in a while.
Or come alongside your friend who you think would fit here or something.
Whatever.
Like that.
Yeah, that kind of thing. That's fine. But
what about here's another version of it. You might call it the pastor worship side of it, where so and so pastor is just so cool or inspiring, like, or smart, and it's just got this power. And I think there are people that are looking for that.
Yeah. So
and until it steps on a toe and then look for it again, and maybe look for it at multiple churches at once. And
so I don't know if you ever met this man. He's dead now, but Bill Wormsley.
I've heard of Bill Wormsley.
So Bill Wormsley had this reputation of being probably the most compelling, intelligent exegeter in Tucson.
Yeah.
And he was at Christ Community for a long time. But when that wasn't a part of things anymore, and he would go preach at another church or preach for a while,
all of a sudden,
church would go almost 200 people instantly because people would go to hear him speak.
Yeah.
And there is I don't know, there's a guy in Texas named Chris Say, who was part of the emergent movement for a while, but he has a big old church called Ecclesia. And he is, anyway, I know this is a long story, but anyway, he's friends with Julie, who I live with, her sister. And I met him a couple times. Anyway, all that to say is that she was joking, and we were all kind of joking, that he could go out on a street corner and just start talking. And as soon as he opens his mouth, and says 5 words, he's got a crowd of 250 people just sitting there to listen to what he's going to say next.
Right.
There are people that have that, gifting.
Gravitas.
Yeah, that God has given them.
And I
to draw people. And
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
So my thing is, one of the problems of the church hopping world, or this thing that we're talking about, is that we don't live in a city church anymore. So it's not the Church of Tucson.
Right.
Right. It's we've got they're all cities now. The Village is a city. Christ Community is a city. The Mission is a city, in the sense of if a letter is written, it would be the church Mission in Tucson, because we're so big and we're also so fractured. So there's no group out, there's not a church eldership with which you and I are under the authority of. Paul didn't come in and set up the Bishop of Tucson, and then he comes and sets up other people under him, and we're all just functioning as one church.
No.
And some of that has to do with Protestants move over the last.
So you've got
years, but
let's flash back. It actually is more helpful to talk about Bill Wormsley because he's not here anymore.
Yeah, Bill.
So somebody in your church is pretty enamored with the style and the power of Bill Wormsley.
Yeah.
And you have 2 services, so they go, I just kind of, or maybe they don't even tell you. You just happen to notice they're sort of, anytime Bill Wormsley speaks, they're there. Okay, and also at the Village. Okay. What about that?
So let me answer that question. That's because my wife actually posed this to me a long time ago. So before all the fall of Mars Hill, right, every year Sue and I would go up either for a conference or to Seattle. And we love Seattle. And it just happens in Mars Hill, and all the music is there. A
similar thing has happened or used to happen with Keller. You go to New York.
Tim,
you're going
to now it's Bridgetown.
If you're in, it's a little bit like one of the tourist destinations. Yeah. Church edition.
Yeah, it's Mecca. So for me, I will say, so I knew Mark. I knew the experience. I was in the same movement he was, so I'm headed up there. He taught me to preach. He changed a lot of my thinking early on how to do mission. Okay, so I go up there. I'm learning. And she said, okay, so what if Mark and Mars Hill was in Tucson, and you were still pastor at the Village, and service happens at 5:00 at night, and he has services all day, so you can go be part of that. How often would you be there?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a good question. It's nice that it's far away.
When it's far away, it's a little, it feels like it's this one-time thing. I don't really have to wrestle with that.
Yeah, because I think I'd be there a lot. But I would my reasoning as a pastor is that I would be like, well, I need a place just to be fed and to cared for where I don't have to do anything.
But it's interesting when a church attendee says the exact same thing. It is interesting as a pastor. I do want to
finish it.
Yeah.
What I did conclude was, no, I would go a couple times and then say, you know what, this is not my community. And if I were to stay here more than 1 or 2 times, I would become concerned, and my gifts would begin to be activated within a community I do not belong.
It would.
And here's the thing: I went to Mars Hill. By the 3rd time we had, started going up there, I started getting recruited.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh yeah, no, I wouldn't be good in another city.
Yeah.
Or in Tucson.
As a pastor, when I visit other churches, it's very rare for me to feel that experience of going, I'm just getting to go to church. That's very, very rare. Usually what's happening within me is I am either uncomfortable with a couple things and dealing with that, or I'm analyzing what's happening here. Every once in a while, and one of the most recent experiences of it, I was in a church that just felt a lot like Mission, honestly. And I found myself just there and partaking. But it's very, very rare for me.
For me, to feel that way, I need to know the people.
Yeah.
To get over the analysis.
It helps. Yeah.
So going to Mission now, I don't critique Mission.
Yeah.
I'd say for the first 5 times I went to Mission,
I could tell.
It was very difficult for me to not think, well, that is weird. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
They need to stop that. No, those kinds of things.
This is what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would he do that?
Yeah.
Why is he talking so fast?
Yeah. That's usually why is he talking so slow. But anyway.
That's right. You told me to talk faster.
Yeah. But so I can go to Mission and I just experience it. And granted, a lot of what I thought needed to change has changed. So, I mean, I'm not saying I was right. I'm like...
Just happens to be that you were.
It just happens to be that I was. But it's easier. But I have also learned to just choose... I don't go to high production churches. As long as I don't go to a high production church, I can just sit and enjoy...
Yeah, the high production church I find very difficult.
It's hard for me because
didn't used to.
I feel very relationally oriented, and they just are not relationally oriented churches. So, yeah,
I've become a bit allergic to what feels like a sell. Anytime it's like, it just feels like I'm being sold something that gets me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you think Corey's satisfied with this answer?
Sure, I think so. I mean, I think here's probably the next step, though. And this is the part where it's hard, and we could talk about it a little bit more. So let's give you the scenario, and then I'll answer it after you. So let's make it real personal.
Okay.
We got a couple single guys at the Village, and they hey, Eric really likes Andy. He came preach that one time. I thought it was interesting. I think I'll go start, just visit. I'll go in the morning at the Village, and I'll go over in the evenings to Mission. And they start coming. And they come for like 2 months. They start to get to know people because you do the same thing we do. You sit down, you eat, to get to know people. And then one of them's like, I want to be one of the home groups. But they're still going to the Village. They're still in our discipleship stuff. What do you do as an elder of the church? How do you handle that moment? They are clear they have no intention of leaving the Village to go to Mission.
Well, and this, I know exactly how I would start. And I would say this has been, I don't remember when this was drilled into me as important, but it has been, and I'm very disappointed when it doesn't occur.
Okay.
The first thing I'd do would be to ask you.
Awesome.
I think this is, if we're inching toward
the city church, then you're a house church.
Yeah.
I'm a house church.
I think the first time you see somebody's face in your church, and say I talk to them and they go, hey, I brought my cousin. Okay, well sure. Then I'm going to go, cool, they're introducing their cousin. But if I see them again, I think it's imperative that you call their leader and pastor and say, what's going on here? So, I mean, I had one time in our church, there was some trouble brewing in another church. I kind of knew about it. I kind of related to the frustrations with it, frankly. Mm-hmm. But some of the people came over. Mm-hmm. And this thing that had been drilled into me came to my mind, and I thought, well, I could kind of see why they wouldn't stay there.
Right.
But I had to make a decision. Do I live by my principle here or not?
Yeah.
So I called the pastor, who I often do not see eye to eye with. Mm-hmm. Right? This has happened a few times.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I've got so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so were here last week. What do you think of that? Now, I've done this multiple times, mm-hmm. sometimes with pastors I know very well and get along with, sometimes with ones that our relationship is, mm-hmm. But I have never regretted it, ever. Not once. Not once. Because even, and this time it was somebody I was like, kind of ho-hum on, and I don't think I would ever go to their church. But they provided information that generally made some sense. And actually, in this case, they said, so I don't think they're a good fit here anymore, if I would welcome them.
So this is great. This is awesome, because I am actually way more nuanced on this than you are, and I think it's case by case.
I do too.
But you were much more emphatic than you normally are. But I want to be the nuanced person for once, not be nuanced.
Yeah. Well, I'll throw in one other, because I just remembered another version that was very similar, and the person said, "Nah, I think there's some issues with them, but they're never coming back here, so whatever."
Gotcha.
And that one didn't really last, right? Like,
yeah.
So, but I've never regretted making the call. And many times I've known that somebody from our church started going to another one. One time I tried calling their church and saying, hey, oh no, that's a whole nother situation. Never mind. But I've been woefully disappointed at how little I hear from other churches when somebody from our church shows up.
Yes. No, granted, I have never had anybody from your church show up more than to see you or to visit, to see the village and experience it.
Right. Which is and usually when you say hi, you get a sense of
why they're there.
I've had people visit our church being in the evening. I've had people from other churches, and they go, hey, I was out of town for my church this morning, so I thought I'd come here. Okay, cool.
So So in the early time when the village was first birth, we had 2 people who came to Christ at the village, and then things got kind of crazy, and they decided to leave the village and go to another church.
Yeah.
So I just called that pastor and said, hey, like, this is the situation.
Yeah.
This is what's going on with them. It's not good. So
they're
coming with some sin issues that they're holding that they don't want to let go of.
Yeah.
And what I got from that pastor was, we know how to handle them. Don't worry about it.
That's generally how it. I've had more of those than not. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was.
Or I've had the version where it's like, well, I think they're just visiting us, so we don't really want to go there.
So I've had people come from like mega churches.
Yeah.
And if they come from a mega church, I don't call the pastor.
Because the chances of them knowing the pastor are low.
Like for instance, Calvary Chapel, I probably wouldn't even have the ability to get to the pastor.
I once tried to call Calvary, and I got a receptionist, and they passed along the message, and I never heard back. Yeah.
Right. So I make the choice. So if it's a big church, unless there's a direct conflict that like we can kind of trace back
to a person,
I might do that. There is one case where I was just like, okay, after I've sat with this people, this is so convoluted. Like getting into the mess of this with them over there is not going to be beneficial for them or me.
I could imagine if there's say they're claiming some form of abuse, and perhaps you have inside information where you're like, that's highly likely. Yeah. Then you're not going to just be like, hey, let's talk about them. You might protect that story.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's more.
Yeah.
Where I would go with that.
Uh-huh.
So yes, but most of the time, if you come to my church from another church, I will have at least touched base with your pastor.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's got to be a reason you're leaving, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Because I don't believe in leaving churches unless there's abuse or egregious sin within the leadership.
Or the church has discerned something.
Yeah, that you need to go. And then I will probably pick that up in their story. Like, yeah, we were all prayed over. And
right. And even then, I think I'd call.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, say, hey, this is what they're saying.
Sounds like
true.
they were prayed over. And if the pastor goes, yeah, absolutely. Well, wonderful. Thanks for.
Yeah. Right.
Thanks for that. But
yeah. So I want to care for people, and I want to be doing that in with other people. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
now,
there you go.
Sometimes, but sometimes that's not nowadays. Like, some people go to church online, so how do I know it? Like,
right.
That's a whole nother problem. Like, I don't know who to talk to.
Well, yeah, or they're coming from a nebulous, like, say they're coming from they've bounced around for years.
Yeah.
Then what, right? Yeah. That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. So to go all the way back, that's partly why we have a yearly membership.
Yeah.
It's so that you always have to rethink why you're here. And you have to also re-up in our membership statement. It says that you won't be in leadership in any other church. That you are committing all your gifts and your finances to this community and this mission for this year, and then you can rethink that the next year.
Yeah,
and I think that's really important to rethink and to publicly say, no, this is where God's called me.
Yeah.
It also gives people the opportunity to say, yeah, I still want to go here, but I've got some other things in some other places, and so I'm not going to be a member here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to come, and that's fine. You can come.
We have we halted. There's a couple big discussions we've had that we halted because other things took precedent lately. But that being one of them, like, is number one, you have another layer of membership.
Yeah, we have 2 layers of membership.
And we're intrigued by that kind of, we've talked to some other leaders who've done something like that. And I think there's something wise to that, because one of, I forget how you nuance it. You could restate it, but one of them would be this. I feel like this is my community. I'm still working out the faith thing and wanting to find a way to say, well, there's a real belonging.
Yeah, this is the family with whom I wish to work my faith out with.
Yeah, exactly.
But I cannot commit to the statement of belief because I don't know if I believe that yet.
Right, exactly. And then there's the version where it's like I'm on board with this.
Right.
Yeah, wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that's really beautiful, because we do it also symbolically through pieces of art, is to watch the people who grow up at the village. When they invite their friends, they will inevitably take them to every single belonging, Ebenezer, basically, and say, well, we did this, and this was the story behind it, and this is why. And so it becomes this storytelling process for the people who grew up in it. Yeah. That's super powerful.
And I like that, and I'm intrigued by that. So we've done some discussion around it. And I think the other thing is we've hinted at, and I think it would end up being part of the same discussion. Do we do the lifelong thing or the yearly thing? The lifelong thing is complicated because, and we're dealing with this right now, so then some people have kind of disappeared. Now, if you do the lifelong thing, you've got to kind of go find them and say, so where is your head at with this?
Sure.
If you are in, you should be here. The yearly thing allows a little more like a yearly built-in check.
Sure. And if you make the shift, like, oh, I've been a member for 5 years and then now I shift just to like what we would call a belonger, then, well, I'm going to say, well, why'd you make that shift?
Yeah.
What's going on in your life that would, like, is there some stuff with us you need to work out? Yeah.
It's a good prompt to do that, which I think is, I'm seeing the wisdom of that as time goes by.
Yeah, and we've become, to be honest with you, I'd say for the first 15 years, just keeping those 2 things together and happening was good, but I'd say over the last 5 to 10 years, probably 10 years, we've been more organized about like even making sure we have an accurate membership roll every year and trying to like hold on to compare it from the last year's and just be on top of things, because it's hard when you're a small church and you have 17 million things flying.
Yeah.
It's just the way we are.
Yep. Okay. Well, I got to go soon, so I say we call it.
Yeah.
Corey, good question. Thanks for sharing it with us.
9:22.
Any of you who have it could be a question like that. You could, whatever you want us to pontificate on. You can text it through your podcast app these days.
Yeah, you can.
What a wild world we live in.
Yeah.
You can email it to faithoverbreakfast@gmail.com if you're a dinosaur like me.
Yep.
You can mail a letter if you're Eric's age or older to, I don't know, just write The Village and see which village it goes to. That'd be kind of fun. It might come here. You can.
Have you heard the comedian who does the whole bit about somebody saying that the postage has gone up and how terrible it is because you got to pay 53 cents for a stamp, and the comedian's like, "What? I can pay 53 cents and then I can hand someone a piece of paper and they will take it all the way to Seattle for me for 53 cents."
What's still the most amazing service price
is
ever.
Ridiculous.
If you want a taco, it's going to be $12.
Right. Yeah. But if you want to take a piece of mail across the country, 53 cents.
Yeah.
No, that's hilarious.
Yes, it absolutely is. So I guess you could probably figure out how to do that if you really want to. The text through the app is great. Email is great.
Yeah.
We would really appreciate it if you like hearing us chat about things. Go give us a rating. That makes a huge difference for podcasters. So please do that. We've been doing this for a very long time, and all reviews are very, very meaningful.
Yeah, the more reviews you give, the better.
And other than that, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Or you'll hear us next time.
You've been listening to Faith Over Breakfast with Pastor Eric Siepen and Pastor Andy Littleton. Please share us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you.